The story of Sauce Gardner is an unlikely one. This guy went from growing up on the mean streets of Detroit, seeing someone get shot right in his face, to becoming one of the best players in the NFL. This is how he did it. Ahmad Gardner was born on August 31st, 2000 in Detroit, and he grew up in a neighborhood with high rates of crime and violence. His dad wasn't really in the picture, so his mom was the one raising the kids for the most part, but obviously this was pretty hard to do, and sometimes she had to work multiple jobs to be able to make ends meet. As I mentioned, he grew up in a rough neighborhood, and his mom was aware of that, which is why she was really strict and really big on discipline when she was raising them. Sauce said that a lot of people around him were participating in the crime and drugs, and some of them ended up getting killed or going to jail when he was a kid. He even told a story of how he saw someone get shot right in front of him when he was just 14-15 outside of a barbershop. Now, because of his mom's discipline and his brother's guidance, he was able to stay away from that, and he even made a promise to her that he would never drink or smoke, and he's upkept that promise to this day. Now, one way that he managed to stay out of trouble was by playing football. His brother was really big into football, and seeing his brother as a father figure or as someone that he was looking up to, he wanted to do exactly like him, so his brother got him into the sport. But because he got into it so young, and because he was a smaller, skinnier kid, he wasn't really given the opportunity to play the way he wanted, and he was oftentimes overlooked. He would show up to his brother's practices all the time, and he would see the older kids warming up and like doing their drills, and he begged the coach to play with them. But unfortunately, he wasn't old enough, so the coach would always say no. But despite this, Sauce kept pestering him and pestering and pestering him until one day the coach said, "Here, catch this," and then threw the ball high and far in the air, and Sauce ran after it, ran after it, and made a fingertip catch over his head and came up with the football. Obviously, the coaches were really impressed by this, and this opened the doors for him at Martin Luther King High School, which was one of the biggest high schools in Detroit at the time, and I think it still is. But unfortunately, after missing the tryouts, he wasn't allowed to play. He was a wide receiver / running back at the time, and he kept on playing for his city until grade 11, and it was honestly by chance that he was given an opportunity on the field. So in grade 11, during a playoff game, one of their cornerbacks broke his jaw during the game, and the coaches turned to Sauce Gardner to hop on the field. So like I said, keep in mind that he was a wide receiver up until this point, but he actually excelled on the defensive side of the field. At cornerback, he led his team to a championship, and he even won defensive MVP of the championship. His performance was impressive, but it wasn't enough for him to get a bunch of college offers. And also, like I said, he was a smaller, skinnier kid, so that didn't help either. Coming out of high school, he was a 3-star recruit, and he got offers from schools like Kentucky and Syracuse, but he ended up committing to Cincinnati. Not having a stellar high school performance and being an underweight kid, the expectations weren't really big for Sauce Gardner. But his performance in college completely changed that. He started off hot in 2019, finishing his freshman year with 31 total tackles, 8 passes deflected, 3 interceptions, and 2 of them being pick sixes. His most notable performance that season was a game against East Carolina, where starting the fourth quarter they were down 40-28. Cincinnati has started a little bit of a comeback, and with just under 5 minutes left in the game, Sauce Gardner ended up intercepting the ball and returning it 62 yards for a pick 6. This led to them tying the game, and after forcing a stop on the defensive side of the field, they got the ball back with a couple minutes left to go, and they drove all the way downfield to score the game-winning field goal. Cincinnati ended up winning that game 46-43, and Sauce Gardner was a huge reason why. His play got even better during his sophomore year. Despite only playing 9 games, he finished with 28 total tackles, one of them being a tackle for loss. He shared a sack, had 6 passes defended, and 3 interceptions. If they were able to play a full season, his stats would have been even better than his freshman year. But the highlight of his college career really came during his junior year. He finished the season with 40 total tackles, 5 of them being tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble, 3 sacks, 4 passes defended, and 3 interceptions. On top of that, he was able to return a blocked field goal 60 yards for a touchdown. His most notable performance that season was against South Florida, where he had 1 interception, 1 forced fumble, and 1 sack. Cincinnati went undefeated that season and ended up making it to the playoffs, and despite losing to Alabama, they became the first Group of 5 school to make it to the playoffs. Now, the impact that Sauce Gardner had on the team was insane. Cincinnati probably had one of the best seasons in their school history because of Sauce Gardner. Now, Sauce finished his college career with some pretty great personal accolades. Because of his performances, he was named All-American, he won a AAC Player of the Year, he was a runner-up for the Jim Thorpe Award just behind Kobe Bryant, he finished first in pass efficiency allowed in 2021, and the most impressive stat in his entire college career is the fact that in over 1,000 snaps played, he didn't allow a single touchdown. He went his entire college career without getting scored on once. That's honestly such an impressive stat, and to me, honestly, it's unheard of. So yeah, honestly, he had one of the best college careers as a cornerback, I think, in college football history. Because of this, he was drafted 4th overall in the 2022 NFL draft by the New York Jets, and some people argue that he could have gone even higher. I made a video recently about our last 3 first overall picks, and I talked about Trayvon Walker and how he honestly hasn't lived up to the hype or hasn't lived up to the honor of being number 1 overall. So that being said, I feel like Sauce Gardner in retrospect could have gone top 3, and some people argue that he could have gone top 2, if not first overall. And honestly, I'd be cool with that. He's honestly had an amazing college career, and his NFL career has lived up to the hype. The Sauce Gardner hype was honestly insane coming out of college, going into the NFL. Part of this is obviously due to the fact that he has a sick nickname. His nickname was given to him when he was a young kid, and it stuck throughout his entire career, and he lived up to it. Now, because of this and because of his performances in college, he was able to get a deal from Wild Wings, and Wild Wings even made a custom burger or some custom wings with a custom sauce called the Sauce Sauce. So people were really digging Sauce Gardner coming into the league, and his NFL career so far, like I said, has lived up to the hype. He's honestly established himself as one of the best cornerbacks in the league, if not the best at the moment. Although his basic stats don't necessarily show it, right now he's averaging around like 50 tackles a season with 3 total interceptions in his career. But you also have to look at his impact on the field. In his first 2 NFL seasons, he finished with a 92.1 coverage rate and only allowed 0.53 yards per coverage snap. And he was number 1 in the league in both of those categories. But I think what's most impressive, and it's something that you're not necessarily gonna see unless you're looking at like wide receiver separation or like cornerback separation allowed, which if I can find a graph, you'll see that he's top in the league in that regard. But if you look at tape, or if you just watch him and pay attention to him on the field, his ability is just honestly insane. He's a tall, lanky guy. He has insane length. Now, because of his length, he's able to get his hands on the receiver and jam him at the line. The New York Jets play a lot of press coverage. They play a lot of like cover 1, and that works to Sauce's advantage. And I think that part of the reason why they play so much cover 1 is because of Sauce. Because they know that's what he's best at, and if they do what he's best at, then they have a better chance of succeeding as a team. So yeah, because of his length, he's able to keep his hands on the defenders, and a lot of people say that because of this, he should be getting more penalties than what he's actually getting. And honestly, like, that's fair, but I watched the video about this guy that explained it perfectly. Your job as a cornerback isn't to respect the rules. Your job as a cornerback, or just honestly any player on the field, is to take advantage of the rules as much as possible without getting caught. I saw there was a play against the Raiders where he was guarding Devontae Adams, and he ran a drag route across the field, and obviously Sauce was following him, and he gave him a little tug. He kind of like pulled on him a bit. So obviously like that in most cases would draw a flag, but because of Sauce's awareness, he saw that like there were people behind him. There was another set of wide receiver and cornerback behind him, and then there was more people in front of him like blocking the referee. So basically like the offensive line, like they were just like boxed in, like no one could have seen that. And just the awareness that he had to like know that he could get away with it, I honestly think that's a great play. Like, yes, like you are breaking the rules, but your ultimate goal is to win the game. Taking that into consideration, I feel like that's a good play. Want to call it a flag or not? Hey, listen, it is what it is. But yeah, whoever explained that video, I think that was a great explanation to it, and I agree. But that being said, one of Sauce's best attributes is his awareness. His football knowledge is honestly insane, and you can tell that this guy's always constantly studying tape. He knows all of the offensive patterns on the opposing teams. He knows the routes that wide receivers are going to run before they even run it, and it's honestly like really impressive. Like if you watch his film, that's going to blow you away more than any stats ever could. So that's one thing I recommend. If you guys do have time, check out some Sauce Gardner film, and you guys are honestly going to be amazed. He's honestly like a really intelligent player, and as a cornerback, you really need that. You need to be able to study a team. You need to be able to study a wide receiver that you're going to be guarding. You need to know what their patterns are, what their habits are, how they run their routes, all that stuff you need to know. And the more you know, like the better you're gonna succeed. And that's why Sauce Gardner has so much success on the field. And then you also take into account his physical abilities. Like I mentioned earlier, he's a tall guy, so typically like taller people aren't able to like move as fast, or shouldn't be moving as fast as Sauce Gardner does. A wide receiver could be running like, I don't know, like a hook or something, or like any comeback route. Like as soon as the wide receiver makes that cut, turns around, Sauce Gardner's already there. Like it's honestly kind of wild. And it's like his reaction speed is insane. He's so fast at recognizing what the route is going to be and to react accordingly. So like I said, the stats aren't necessarily going to show it, but just watch his impact on the field and you'll know that he's easily the best cornerback in the league. And I'm definitely not the only person that thinks so. In 2022, he got selected Defensive Rookie of the Year. He got selected to 2 first-team All-Pros in 2022 and 2023. And he also got selected to 2 Pro Bowls in 2022 and 2023. In 2023, he finished 23rd in the NFL Top 100, and in 2024, he finished number 38. So honestly, so far, he has the personal accolades to prove that he's valid. And this is one thing that I like about players like that, is that he's able to establish himself as one of the best without necessarily having the basic stats to prove it. And I honestly love that. It goes to show that football, or just sports in general, is so much more than just what the basic stats say. Your impact on a team goes beyond stats. It's how you're able to show up on the field and how you're able to not only lead a team, but then have the ability to back it. And Sauce Gardner definitely has that. After not allowing a single touchdown in his entire college career, and then coming to the NFL and locking down wide receivers, like locking down. It's honestly truly remarkable. That's why I think, like I said multiple times, Sauce Gardner is one of the best cornerbacks in the league. And honestly, just the Jets secondary as a whole is goated. They have a sick secondary. If you look at their ability to lock down receivers, if you look at the separation allowed and all of that stuff, the Jets are actually up there. They're actually they have one of the best secondaries in the league. So if they can get an offense to match, I know they just signed Justin Fields recently. If Justin Fields is able to pull through and like have the best season of his career so far, because honestly he hasn't been great as of yet in the NFL, but if he's able to turn that around, the Jets could actually be a good team. So if they can get some support on offense, watch out for the Jets. I'm letting y'all know. I'm excited to see the rest of Sauce Gardner's career. I feel like he's such a cool player to watch. He has a sick name, like his ability on the field is insane. You guys probably know this about me already, but I like underdogs. People that didn't really have a chance to make it to the league, or like people that faced all odds, especially like because of their physical abilities. I love that. Sauce Gardner growing up in the hood in Detroit, watching people get murdered right in front of him, it's impressive that someone like that was able to make it to the league and retire his family, take care of his mom, all that stuff. And for him, that's one of the biggest things. He talks about it in interviews all the time, that now his mom lives a great life. She was able to make so many personal sacrifices, sometimes working 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet. Most importantly, was able to give him the discipline to just stay out of trouble. That's the main thing. She was able to get this kid off the streets and onto the field, and a lot of kids need that. Kids nowadays need a role model, and Sauce definitely had that in his mom and in his brother. Both of them were able to keep him off the streets, keep him clean, and tell him to just focus on what he's good at, to focus on his passion. And now they get to live a great life because of it. So honestly, I love stories like that, man, to be honest. Especially like I said, because he is also like growing up, he was like a smaller, skinnier kid. It makes me think about me a lot. And just seeing someone like that be able to become one of the best players in the NFL, it's honestly like, it's impressive, and I honestly really like that. So that being said, that goes to show that if you guys are going through hardship, or if you guys have a lot of adversity, if you guys are growing up in a rough neighborhood, or if you don't think you have the physical abilities, just keep grinding. Like honestly, just keep working, and trust me, if you put your heart into it and you actually try your best every day, not try your best 90% of the time, but if you actually try your best every single day when you wake up, then there's literally nothing you can do. There's literally nothing you can't do. So keep grinding, keep pushing, and one day you guys are gonna make it. Anyways, that's gonna be it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I honestly appreciate all the support that you guys have been showing me, as I've always said. If you guys like this video, make sure to leave a like, comment your favorite football player, subscribe to the channel to help us grow, and keep doing what you guys are doing. Keep showing some love. I'll see you guys on the next one.